This is Between the Lines. I'm Tatum Everett alongside Ben Leber, and the Vikings fall to the Packers 23-6. They dropped to 4-7 on the season now. Ben, usually my first question for you in these types of games is, what was it like in the locker room afterwards? How are the guys?
Oh my gosh. Tatum, it was probably the most depressing locker room that I've been a part of in a long time.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I mean, everything fell apart in the second half. You know, we get the turnover on the special teams. You get the score a couple plays later. Then you get the next series offensively, which was just a disaster. And then it never got better.
Right.
It never got better for either side. And we couldn't muster up any offense. We couldn't stop the bleeding on defense. And that's a very frustrated, disappointed, and depressed locker room right now. Yeah.
It's tough. You lose the turnover battle 3-0. The Packers have the ball for 15 more minutes than you. They have 21 more plays, 12 more first downs. I mean, those are just numbers that in any sense of your imagination, you will never be able to get a victory from. How hard is that to kind of stomach and move on from?
Well, again, I mean, here we are once again after a loss, and we're talking about the take-give ratio. You know, defense not taking the ball away at all is becoming a problem. You know, the ball was on the ground there late in the fourth quarter. Green Bay ends up getting it back. But we're not creating enough opportunities. It's hard when you're not playing from a lead. You know, a lot of times defensively, you're getting sack fumbles, you're getting overthrows that we saw from McCarthy. We're getting those situations where the offense is pressing. And when we're not playing from a lead, it's hard for a defense to always kind of get in front of the football. And so, once again, we have to play because of the situation that we're put in with a young quarterback and just not gelling right now. You have to play perfect. And part of playing perfect is not turn the ball over. And you got to take the ball away when you can. And we're just not doing that.
Right. The field goals from Reichard, the only points for the Vikings today. We were touchdownless for the second time this season. However, Will Reichard's now the only player in the NFL with 4 59-plus yard field goals.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Awesome. Having someone like that who's so reliable, what can that do for a team that is struggling in other areas?
I mean, it does ultimately give you a little bit of confidence as a play caller, as an offense that, if things, kind of falter and you stumble a little bit on offense and, we all understand that the other team gets paid too. They're allowed to make plays. And if those happen when you're on their side of the 50, you've got a guy with a great leg. Yeah. Look, this wasn't a tough environment. It was a little breezy. The thing about this stadium, though, is it's really hard to gauge the wind because it doesn't feel windy on the field. But then you look up at the top of the stadium and you can see the flags actually blowing the opposite direction from where you feel like it's like on the field. Yeah. So it does swirl around in here a little bit. It is cooler out today. It's harder to keep your body warm. So those are all reasons why a 59-yarder wouldn't be successful. So it really is nice to have the confidence that your guy can go out in a lot of different weather conditions, obviously kick well inside of our stadium, but come out here in kind of a hostile environment with bad conditions and kick one through.
This offensive line allowed 5 sacks today. I know that you spoke to center Ryan Kelly, who is back. What were some of his sentiments about being around, a young quarterback? Because he's been there before.
Yeah.
Coaching up a young quarterback. What did he say?
Well, we didn't specifically talk about McCarthy. We did talk about the sacks. We did talk about, it seems like, they didn't have to bring a lot of 5-6-man pressures and blitzes to really affect us and kind of ask the why behind that. And he's like, look, they did a really good job of just kind of keeping us on our heels, and he took the approach of, obviously some things that we could do better. Maybe there's some calls when we go back. He said they did change some things going into this week because of Micah Parsons, because he's such a special player that you have to account for him on the edge. Also, he'll line up in the middle and he'll blitz that A gap. And so how does it change the protections? And, it's one thing to put things in theory in practice. It's another one to practice them out here and actually play against it in real time. And so I think, going back to those guys are pretty good too. They kind of just had our number. I think they had the momentum, they had the energy, and they didn't always need to bring a 5 or 6 man pressure blitz. They were able to affect us in those ways, and that's winning football. When you can make the quarterback second guess because you have 7 guys in coverage, it's very tough.
Right. Well, we are now moving on. It's the 24-hour rule, Ben. So as we leave from here, we're moving on. Seattle is up next. The Vikings travel there on Sunday. It'll be a 3 o'clock kickoff Central Time. So let's have a great Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to our Vikings fans. And we will see you next Sunday.